Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. Today I am going to be talking to someone who was involved in van life and they lived in their RV for quite a while, traveled an enormous number of miles, but van life wasn't their end destination. A lot of the people who I interview, they're leaving apartments or homes because they can no longer afford their rent. So van life really is their end destination. Or they're leaving because they want to pursue a lifestyle that will allow them to travel and be more free. So again, it is their end destination, at least for a while. But some people get involved in van life because they're in between chapters. They're transitioning from one chapter in their life to the next, and they don't know exactly what the next is going to look like. So they use van life for that transition, whether it's after a divorce or whether it's after the end of a job. And we're going to talk to someone who used van life in that way and see how that worked out for her and what her next steps are. And her name is Red from Red-Headed Riding Hood. So come on, let's go meet her. Well, hello, Red.
Hi, Carol. How are you?
I'm doing great. I am so happy to be interviewing you on this topic. But before we get to it, you're here in San Diego County. Specifically, you came for the Glow meetup. How did you enjoy yourself?
I had fun and I learned a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of teaching, especially from Lisa, and I did a little bit on YouTube, but it was a lot of fun. You came to the meetup in a RAV instead of, that's like a RAV, is that a Toyota?
Yes, it's a Toyota RAV. It's a hybrid.
Okay, but you came to that. I was surprised. You weren't in an RV, you were in that. So what's up with that? How come you have that instead of an RV?
I sold my RV in May. I thought about it for a while and I decided to sell it. I wanted to get something smaller. I wanted to get something more fuel efficient. And have relocated to near my son in Colorado, and I got an apartment, which I'm moving into in August.
Well, let's talk about that because you moved into an RV. What year was that you moved into an RV?
2020.
And you had been divorced a while back before that, but you were telling me that, and I'll let you explain to the viewers why the decision at that time to move into an RV.
Well, I knew I wanted to leave Georgia, but I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to settle. And my children are grown and they're all over the country. And so, I thought I could travel in my RV and live in it. I had heard of someone on Facebook, someone I met on Facebook that did it for a few years after their divorce.
So for you, it wasn't something that you had to do it financially. It was something that you wanted to do temporarily to travel, but it was never the end result that this is where I'm going to be living as long as possible.
Yes. It was something I wanted to do for a while and decide where I would like to settle. I wasn't really exactly sure. I think I probably want to settle back in California.
Okay.
But I was thinking about it, and now I'm going to be by my son for a little while at least.
So it was like a transition. Gave you the opportunity to think about what your next step was, what the next chapter was, without making a full commitment of a long-term lease or buying a house. So an RV experience for you, you got to travel and visit people while still making a decision as to what you wanted to do next.
Yes.
I think, that's an excellent, I don't really encounter a lot of people that I've interviewed that are doing RV living for that reason. But I bet there are a lot of people out there, women and men, who may have gone through a major life change and don't want to make a full commitment yet. And so they use an RV lifestyle temporarily to think about what they're doing, and then meanwhile travel and enjoy life in the interim.
Yeah.
So how did RV life, for the period of time that you did it, how did that work out for you?
It worked well because I had family and friends that were all over the country, and I house sat and dog sat for my friend, and I was able to help my brother out when my sister-in-law was very ill before she passed away. And I saw my niece and my son. And
so it sounded like it gave you a lot of freedom, and if things came up in family or with friends, you were able to be there for them because you weren't tied down to a specific sticks and bricks. And then you were telling me you went almost about 10,000 miles during that time?
Yeah, I did. By the time I finished, I had gone 10,000 miles, and I went to the East Coast in the fall.
That's quite a bit. So now you are getting ready to rent a place, but you were telling me that you are looking now to perhaps do RV life part-time with a little scamp or something like that, but that from this point on you think you want a permanent home base to go back to. Is that correct?
Yes, I like having a home base, and I used my friend's place in Illinois, and that's where I went back to get repairs and stuff like that. And I feel like it's good to have a home base, and I like doing RV part-time that way.
So in conclusion, basically RV life and living can be a part-time thing for a certain period of time in your life in transition, and it can then continue to be part-time but with a home base. So this is just another option for people who want to travel and maybe going through different phases in their lives, or from one chapter to another. And thank you so much for sharing that, Red. And can you tell us the name of your channel? You have a YouTube channel. What's the name of it?
Red-Headed Riding Hut.
Okay, and you are going to be sharing some of your poetry because you're quite a prolific writer, I hear. And maybe on one of the upcoming episodes, we'll share some of your poetry. Would you be willing to do that for us?
Yes, I'd love to.
Okay. Well, until next time, next meetup, next whatever it is, but thanks again, Red, and go check out Red-Headed Riding Hood. And what are you at right now? How many subscribers do you have?
578.
Okay, so we're trying to get you to 1,000, but we'll get you there. You'll get there. Thanks again. May your journey be filled with joy and blessings, and we'll see you down the road. Bye-bye.